is the COUNTIF function. Recall the sum if, the average if. This also works like it. In this case, we are counting if the cell meets a particular criteria. So the COUNTIF function counts cells that meet a criterion. It is written as equal to COUNTIF. Let's look at a straight example of how you can apply the COUNTIF function. For example, if we want to count the employees who their salary are above 40,000, the COUNTIF is a good function to use. Or we want to count the employees who their age is 30 and above. To do that, let's start by counting the employees who their salary are 40,000 and above. So, COUNTIF. The syntax is to first select the range. Now, the range is where the calculation is going to take place at the end of the if statement, which is the salary column. So you select the salary column, comma. What's the criteria? The criteria is greater or equal to 40,000. Remember to always put your criteria in quotation if you're typing it. I'll close the bracket and enter. So we have just 8 staffs whose salary are 40,000 and above. Let's manually take a look at it. So we have 45,000, which is above 40,000. And all of these are above 40,000, only just one, which gives us the 8. Let's take a look at another example of how you can use the COUNTIF. We want to count the employees whose age are below 30. That is, those who are 30 and below. So let's start equal to COUNTIF, select the range, comma, what's the criteria? Those who are less than or equal to 30. Close the bracket and enter. So we have just 3 staffs who are 30 years and below, which are just these 3 here. The rest are above 30, which makes sense, where we got 3. Now recall for the count function, we said that the count function only works for numbers, but does not work for text. If you want to count text, you use the COUNTIF function. It's quite different with the COUNTIF function. The COUNTIF function also counts text. Let's take a look at that. Let's try to count the male employees. So COUNTIF. Now count if this person is a male. So let's select the range. We're working with the gender, so select the range from E2 to E10. Now what's the criteria? The criteria is male. You can either type in the criteria like this, or you select the criteria, COUNTIF, select the range. I prefer to select the criteria instead of typing it out like this. Because of spellings, sometimes you might miss a word and then you don't get the right answer. But whichever choice you make is totally fine. Always make sure to type the correct criteria. For this example, I'll be selecting the cell. So the criteria is male. We want to count the male employees. So click on male, that's E2. Then you close the bracket and you enter. Now we have only 6 staffs who are male, meaning the other ones are female. Let's try to count manually. So we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, 4, 5, and 6. This shows that our calculation is correct. Now this example is to show you that COUNTIF can also work on text column, unlike the count function, which only works on numbers.